So I just happened to run into the icon Jay Blahnik. For those that don't know who this is,
What up?
just a few questions, Jay. We had a very deep discussion, so I want to ask you first, for the people, because there's been so much topics about status and the status craze and the relevance and the prevalence of it. So let me first ask you, you being an icon, what is your definition of a ballroom icon?
The simple version of it is a question. What would this scene look like if this person was not a part of it? If there's an obvious gap or obvious hole in terms of what the scene will look like, what a category, they're not an icon. That's the first question. The scene as a whole, you have got to make a difference in the entire scene to be an icon.
So give me an example of some ballroom icons that fit that definition to you.
A ballroom icon. Pony is a ballroom icon to me. And I know this is very subjective for a lot of folks, but if you took Pony off the ballroom scene, there would be an obvious gap in terms of, our ability to transcend ballroom and go into the mainstream, be visible on television. There's an obvious gap in terms of his category, which makes him legend first. The icon, not only the fact that, he moved it to the mainstream and put us on TV, Pony did a little bit more than that. He's trained so many people in the scene. So when you think about the number of Vogue films that came after him, that is iconic to really be able to train and produce that many other legends. That's iconic.
Okay, name another one.
Another icon, clear icon, Octavia. Raquel is icon. I want to use people that people have not given their status to.
Right.
So Raquel is a clear icon to me. I call her, yes, she's the peach of Atlanta.
Gotcha.
Stasha is an icon to me. The two of them have one of the biggest rivalries in the history of ballroom, and both of them, without their participation in balls in Atlanta and around the country, you would definitely see a clear gap in terms of the type of femme queens that were produced, particularly out of the South. I mean, there will be half the femme queens will be gone, and so I think they've inspired the entire scene. One of the biggest icons of all time, Sanaya, obviously. I mean, you can't get bigger than Sanaya and Ashley. Rivalry in terms of performance, biggest of all time. I've never seen a rivalry that big. Never. They are the pinnacle of rivalry. And then what Sanaya has done in terms of sex siren, I mean, she has really taken a generation of people and shown them how to be sexy. You watched her matriculation from a little girl in the scene who was wearing, remember Cupid Pete when she had a little cat suit on and a little mask and the Christmas ornament wrapped on her face, to becoming the sexiest thing on the planet. And people know Sanaya's name outside of ballroom. Naomi, icon. Someone that her name transcends ballroom. I don't care if you're watching, you could be in Bermuda, you think of Vogue, you think of Naomi. Deshawn, icon. You want to be really honest about this? Icon. You cannot go to another city and think about performance in the United States in voguing without thinking about these people. Iconic.
So where do you think icon has gone wrong, actually?
I think it's going wrong because people are looking at other folks to determine what their status should be. So if you gave it to so-and-so and I've been out before them, or I've done as much, or I believe I've done as much as them, so now I think I'm icon too. You cannot measure your ballroom status on the backs of somebody else's work. Their work stands by itself, it's independent of yours, and accept that. So all people who inbox me and say, this is my body of work, that's for you to look at, not for me to look at. As an outsider, if you've done that much, I would have already seen it. I would have already known about it.
So where do you think there's a war amongst the icons where maybe, let's say, Eugene, two people in big ball, then they feel like...
Relevance. I want to cut the chase. If I'm the person in power deeming people of their status, then that means that people now look at me as a status giver. So that means that puts me in a higher light in terms of power. And that doesn't. It makes you look silly when you're giving people statuses they don't deserve. And so being relevant doesn't mean that you award people something they don't deserve. Being relevant means that you maintain the integrity of the ballroom scene with strict confidence that you're doing the right thing for the right people. And you do that throughout.
So how can you put something ordered in something that is basically unorganized?
Well, it's all subjective. It's all based on opinion. Like what I share with you is my gut feeling about what an icon is. Like a legend. I told you an icon was about being a person who, without them, would transform the whole scene. Well, a legend to me is a person who would transform a category. Without this person in this category, the category would look different. Without this person living in this particular city, that city would look different. That's legendary. And so people have got to be able to say, ask themselves that really tough question. without me, really would things look differently? And people's got to be honest with their friends and say, girl, we might have went in the bathroom and did 3 lines together because, you know, that's what it's all about. You might have bought me some clothes for a ball, you might have got me dressed, but at the end of the day, did I do the work? And the answer to most people is no. To be honest with you, Caesar, I think there's about 10 to 15 icons in the entire ball scene.
For real, for real.
For real, for real.
So
people whose name is that big that it transcends what we currently have. And about legends, I say about 20 to 30 maybe. Everything else is fabrication. I think people forgot about up-and-coming legends. I think people forgot about statements and stars. And most people really fit those categories very nicely. But instead, they're judging themselves off their girlfriend. Remember that line from Paris when I told you that on the plane? Though you've been hanging around the legendary children, though you've stamped yourself legendary children, you yourself may not be legendary. Accept it. And that goes for me too. I don't say this absent of myself. If I don't fit a category, then that's fine. I accept that. My status was to give it to me by myself. So whoever went wrong there, who went wrong. And I think we have to think about that kind of stuff too.
Do you think they went wrong with you though?
Oh, absolutely not.
And why is that? What makes you an icon?
I think with me, I think it's about when you look at services to people in the ball scene, that wouldn't be there without me. You know, organizations wasn't getting money to provide, to do balls. The first ball that happened from an organization was really the latex ball, right? That was discretionary money, that wasn't federal money. Colors Organization, Philadelphia, that was actual dollars from the health department to support that ball. That's advocacy from myself, Mark McLaurin, Alex Williams, Michael Roberson, Albert Santana. Those people really fought to bring resources in that community. That's iconic. And you can't do a production in the entire scene without thinking about Jay Blahnik. That's absolutely impossible. It's not runway, it's the entire scene. Productions wouldn't happen without me. I was the prototype for that.
So let me ask you, in this new ballroom climate, in this new ballroom climate, in this new scene, who are some people you feel like maybe overlooked?
I think Monica's overlooked.
Monica Ford.
Absolutely. I mean, she's been doing the work from Mucci Bazaar to, and I've watched this woman grow from walking runway to performance. She's done that. She's done labels, best dress, putting eyewear. She's been a mother of several houses. Her leadership in and of itself, that type of leadership from house, that's legendary and iconic for me by itself. We don't have enough strong leaders, and she's definitely one of the strongest girls in the scene. She's endured a lot. She's still here, and she looks great, and she still wins consistently. That's the important word, consistency.